What's up, everybody? This is NORBCAM coming at you. This is actually a part 2 to the Dive In with Dovin. We had our first part live talking about the last game, the 49ers game, about that win. And now we're about to transition and talk about the Seahawks-Rams game coming up tomorrow, Thursday Night Football. So let's bring in my special guest, my sponsor and partner in crime here, Daniel.dovinh of Dovinh Real Estate Group. Daniel, you ready to talk a little Rams football?
Always, man. But more importantly, some Seahawks football, baby.
Yeah. Well, it's part of it is knowing your opponent. And we've got a tough opponent coming in here, CenturyLink, Lumen Field. The good thing is we are wearing the action green uniforms. And personally, they're a little much for me. I don't know how you feel about them, but what's your thoughts on the action green uniforms that they'll be sporting tomorrow night?
Yeah, the first time I saw them, I really didn't like them. Tide had this awesome kind of promotion going on, and I remember seeing like these jerseys, and they're all just one color, right? You'd see the Cardinals, and they're wearing all red, and the Rams were wearing all yellow one year, and it looked like ketchup and mustard were fighting against each other. But the thing that I've really liked is we've never lost, knock on wood, we've never actually lost in the action green, and I think it fits well with Pete Carroll's philosophy of flying around the football and bringing a lot of energy, especially at home at Lumen Field. So super actually excited for the action green because it means we're going to win.
I like your confidence, man. And I'm with you. Personally, just by look, I'm not crazy. It's a little too much green. It's a little too much Kermit the Frog and the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. But man, if it'll get us the win, we'll wear polka dots, whatever it'll take. Let's talk about actual football here. So the Rams they had their tough loss last week against the Cardinals, who are now the big surprise undefeated team leading the pack in the NFC West, but followed closely by the Rams in second, and here we are in third. A chance to, if we can get this win, we'd be in second place, moving up the charts from where we were in last just a few days ago. So a lot at stake here in this game. What do you think is just your overall feel going into this after what you saw of the Seahawks last week against the Niners and the fact that the Rams are coming off a loss? Do you feel like this times out well? What's your just feeling as a fan going into this? What's your feeling? Good, excited, nervous, confident? You sounded confident earlier, but what's your feeling going into it?
Well, you know me. I'm always confident in our Seahawks. I think our philosophy is strong. I think we have the best head coach in the division. I think we have the best quarterback in the division. And I think we have the best fans in the division. So that's a good start there. As far as specifics, I think we are trending in the right direction. The Seahawks are starting to figure themselves out, and I think the Rams are starting to trend in the opposite direction. Need us not forget that last year, offenses, including ours, went crazy for the first quarter of the season. Russell Wilson was, I think at this point in the season, he probably had 16, 17 touchdowns. And they're talking MVP. It's because defenses need more time to gel than offenses do. And the NFL is really, really good at making defensive adjustments. So I think people are starting to see how the Rams are going to be using their new quarterback. And the Seahawks defense is starting to gel. Remember, at the beginning of the season, it's really the first time where we're really having Marquise Blair in there more consistently. We're starting Trey Flowers, like what's going on there. DJ Reed is on the other side. It's our first full season with Jamal Adams. And like I said earlier, it's the first time for a lot of these young players to be playing in front of these fans. So now that they've got that first loss out of the way at home, now we can focus on running the table at home. We've already stolen one division game on the road. Now we got to win these division games at home. So my overall feeling is, Russell Wilson's QB rating is over 130, right? He has 9 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And I saw that after looking at, what's his name? I can't. Matt Stafford. Okay, he has 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions right now. Really good rating at 117, but he's no Russell Wilson. So there's opportunities there. If they're going to cough up the ball 1 or 2 times, that will be enough, I think, to really turn the tables at home. So I will also say this. In their loss against the Cardinals, The Rams threw the ball 42 times. And they became one-dimensional, and I think it's because they're playing from behind, and so they kind of abandoned the run game. The main way we lose is if we let Henderson go nuts. He has a 4.9 yard per attempt this season, and Carson, to give us some context, is at like 4.2. So we need to make sure Henderson is not running around and making them one-dimensional and making, Matt Stafford beat us. It's going to be him and Cooper Kupp against our defense, and if we make them one-dimensional, I like our odds.
I agree with you there. And we did a collab with the some 49er fans, and I talked about one of the biggest key matchups was shutting down George Kittle, and we pretty much did that. And of course, you just named it, Cooper Kupp. He is probably the most obvious, target that we're going to have to control because he's leading the league, or second in the league in wide receiving in terms of 5 touchdowns, 400 plus yards. So he's definitely going to be Matt Stafford's one of his favorite targets. So we're going to have to definitely key on him. I think if we can, we're not going to be able to stop him completely, obviously, but if we can slow him down and take him a little bit out of the equation, then I feel like that's kind of like the George Kittle effect. We neutralize George Kittle. If we can somewhat neutralize Cooper Kupp and just minimize the damage, I think, and add it to what you said, I feel like there are some opportunities there. Now, on the positive side, we do get some guys back because it looks like we might be getting Gerald Everett, D. Eskridge, 2 big components new to this year's offense. We only got to really see them on the field in that first game where we did have a win. So having those guys both back would be awesome. And I think we're getting Brandon Shell, our right tackle, back as well. So those are 3 offensive pieces that would be huge that we did not have all 3 on the field the last couple of games. So that could be to our benefit. However, on the negative side, I do believe that, who was it? Carlos? Was it? No, Darrell Taylor. Darrell Taylor is probably out because he hurt his ankle in that 49er game. So we're losing one of our pass rushers too, and against a team who has not
that guy right now.
And Matt Stafford has only been sacked like 3 times, I think, in so far this season. So contrary to Seattle, we've had been sacked like 11 times, I believe. So definitely we have to control that aspect of the game. But if you were to break it down into 3 keys, I'm kind of putting you on the spot because I didn't tell you pre-game. And it's like, hey, prepare your 3 keys. But what would be your 3 keys for Seattle getting a victory? You kind of talked a little bit about it. Let's put into 3 distinctive keys to getting a win on Thursday Night Football national game.
The numbers show that this may be a shootout because the Rams defense is not where it was last year, and our defense is definitely not to our standards as well. So on paper, it should be a shootout. So I think last man standing. So who has the offensive line that's gonna do better? I think right now the Rams on paper versus our depleted pass rush is probably the key. So I would say, who wins the line of scrimmage? That's number 1. That's pretty much every football game, but in specific, when you're facing, Floyd, Aaron Donald, and you got Jalen Ramsey on the other side, really what happens at the line of scrimmage is going to be key. And we are not at full strength on offensive or defensive line right now. So it's going to be who gets to the quarterback the best. The number 2 thing is what I said earlier, which is, can we make the Rams one-dimensional? Can we just make them a throwing team? Because after Cooper Kupp, there's a huge drop-off. Tyler Higbee's a really good tight end, but, the Cardinals shut down him pretty well and made Cooper Kupp the guy, and Cooper by himself was not enough to win it. And I would say number 3 is, can our secondary get another pick? That I really do think winning the turnover battle is really important, especially against the Rams. We need some extra bonus. So one thing that was striking to me was listening to the post-game interview with Quandre Diggs. And after his interception last game, he said, the coaching staff allowed me to do some extra things this game, gave me a little bit more freedom, and I took advantage of that. So because there was some good outcomes based on that adjustment, I think they're going to keep doing that. I was listening on the radio today, and I thought they made a really good point. It's like, when you have a depleted pass rush, we may need to consider sending Jamal Adams more this game because we need the pass rush. So I would say, my 3rd key is in the secondary. What are we going to do there? Are we able to produce some turnovers that way. What do you think, Norb? What are your three?
All right. Well, I talked a little bit. My three keys of this. It starts again. We named him already, but Cooper Kupp. We've got to minimize his damage. We can't let him go off for like 2 or 3 touchdowns and 200 plus yards. We got to make him just somewhat neutralized. If we can keep him from just going off on us, that would be part one. Part two is we've got to not only commit to the run game, but we've got to be productive in the run game. And if that means I really like the way Alex Collins is running the ball right now. I love myself, Chris Carson, but I really can't deny how good Alex Collins has been running. And I can't explain why he's been better, but it's the same line, it's the same plays. It's not like they change the lines and give Alex Collins his own special lines. But for some reason, Alex Collins is getting a much better, average per carry. So if they got to give him the ball more, just whatever it takes. But we got to be productive on the run, because it's one thing to commit to the run, but it doesn't work if you're only making 1 yard a carry or being stopped in the behind the line of scrimmage. So we got to be productive in the running game. And my last one is we've got to not only win the turnover battle, I think we've got to dominate the turnover battle. We did that against the 49ers, right? We got a couple of gifts. We got an interception. We got that fumble really down low there. I feel like you said, if it's going to be a shootout, I feel like part of that neutralizing that offense is we're going to have to get some turnovers. Now, Russell Wilson's been really good about protecting the football, so he's got to keep on that track. But we're going to have to get, somehow get the ball in our hands. If that means tipping at the line of scrimmage, even if we can't rush them, well, put your hands up and bat that sucker down. We've been pretty good at doing that the last couple of games. And if we can get a lucky tip, sometimes that ball just bounces in funny ways, and next thing you know, it turns into an interception going the other way. So we've got to get our hands on the ball and get some major plus points in the turnover battle. And if that's the case, that will really shift things momentum in our on our side. So Cooper Kupp, neutralize him, be productive, super productive in the run game, and dominate the turnover battle. Those are my three keys to getting a win. And again, my score prediction, as I said I'm going to stick with my prediction video score, which is 28-21 Seahawks over the Rams. What about you?
Well, I have a very specific prediction again.
Like last time.
It is going to be a terrible, classic Seahawks nail biter that we're not going to get a reprieve. We're not going to have one of those 42-7 Rams victories, 7 years ago, and kicked our butts. And then we're like, we got to rebuild this thing, not 7 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever that was, it's not going to be like a 9-7 game, anything like that. It's going to be 31-30. The Seahawks are going to have 4 touchdowns, and they're going to have a field goal to make it 31 points. The Rams are going to have, let me see here, they're going to have 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals. Your man, Johnny Hecker, is going to not be playing much. He's going to be holding the ball on a lot of those field goals. And I'm hoping, like you said, that it can be a +2 turnover battle win for the Seahawks. So I think it's going to be a real shootout. I don't think either of these defenses are ready for everything that they're going to whip out. So I think there's going to be some D. Eskridge, some Tyler Lockett, some DK Metcalf, even a little bit of some Will Dissly in there, some Gerald Everett. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. If I were a betting man, I'd bet on the over. I think the over on this game is like in the 40s maybe as far as total points. I'm like, these defenses are not good enough for that. Another note I will say is I was curious about this for you, Norm. Do you think that they were kind of saving Chris Carson a little bit by, playing Collins a little bit more last game because of the short week? Or do you think that's a conspiracy and I'm crazy?
No, I don't think that's crazy at all. I think we all know his history. He's never played a full 16-game season, less a 17-game season. And, there's no Rashad Penny in there. So Alex Collins is kind of the next guy up right now. And of course, we still got Travis Homer back there who comes in on 3rd down, and we have DJ Dallas if we have to. But I'm with you, man. It's like, why pound Carson if we can have a productive guy like Collins? And he's doing great. He's kind of doing better than Carson is right now. So put him in, man. It's good running back by committee. I'm all for it. But I think you're right. The score you just predicted reminded me a lot of that game that we had. I think it was also a Thursday night game, the one where they missed the field goal at the last second and barely missed it, right? A lot of people believe Paul Allen went blew that ball just outside the uprights.
Yeah.
But that was a heck of a game and great entertainment, nail biter, like you said, and it could be just like that one. So, yeah, I believe it's going to be a close game and not decided till the very last minute or seconds of the game. So get ready, hold on tight, buckle up your chin straps, buckle up your seatbelts, and we're going for a ride. It's going to be great.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. My voice is getting back after all the Mariners screaming, and now I'm ready to yell at the Seahawks.
But, as much as that the Mariners' disappointment that came on that Sunday while we were also watching the Hawks game, would have been nice if we could have been playing into this week and getting into these games. But it felt like they ran out of gas. It's like they had this amazing run, like 10 or 11 out of 12 games, and just this crazy, outlandish comeback to be able to climb back into the playoff hunt, only to fall just one game short. We could have won that game Friday night. You were at that game, and so was I, and we so badly wanted to see them win in person. But had they won it, maybe it would have been a different outcome on Sunday. But either way, the positive, it gave us a lot of great baseball that we don't usually care about in late September, and it also bodes well for the future of the Mariners. So I think Mariners fans could feel good that, hey, we're heading in the right direction, and this next year really could be something special, don't you think?
Right. Absolutely. I think you're right. I think we ran out of gas. Our starting pitcher in our last game, Tyler Anderson, we picked up at the trade deadline, off the scrap heap. That guy had like the second highest strike ratio all season. And the thing about him is he went on short rest the last 3 starts. One of them, I think he was on like 2 days rest. One was on 4 days, and he just literally ran out of gas and ran out of steam. And, we had a lot of injuries actually on the starting, as far as starting pitchers. People forget about Justin Dunn. They forgot about Justice Sheffield, and you forgot about Big Maple. He was supposed to be there. James Paxton.
We lost him so early that you almost forgot he was on the team. But yeah,
exactly.
He'll be back.
But our position players are in a really good position right now. Like, we can move Ty France over to third. We could have Evan White come back to first base, play great defense. Kyle Lewis back from injury in center field. Kellenic in left. Haniger in right. I think our position players are going to be great. Crawford, shortstop, and Toro, second base. And we need to figure out our catcher situation. But we drafted like 4 catchers this year because we're bummed Zanino went and hit 40 bombs in Florida, but that's what happens when you play like in a tiny stadium in a tiny division, and all you do is try to hit fly balls. So I don't really regret letting him go, but I like where the future is at for the Mariners. So don't get me started on that, man. I can talk Mariners all day.
Well, we might have to have a new segment when the baseball season starts over and start talking about diving in with Dovin on the Mariners. Anyway, but we're still in football. We're head deep in football here, so we'll see what happens. Let's see what kind of result we have. I think you and I both agree it's going to be a high-scoring affair, and we just hope the Seahawks come out on top in this one. But I want to set up your tip of the week. I like many people, I'm sure, if you're curious to see, I wonder what my house is worth these days. You go to Zillow and click, look at it. It's going up. It's going up. I like it. Now, I can't do anything about it until I actually sell it, but it's kind of cool. And I've always wondered, how accurate is this to what the real, if it comes time to, if I want to sell my house, is it really going to go for that? And it turns out your tip of the week talks a little bit about that. So I'm going to have you jump right into it. What is your tip of the week? Tell us about it.
Right. My tip of the week is to not trust the Zillow Zestimate or the Redfin estimate on your home's value. And here's why. The truth is that the way that they calculate your property's value is actually purely on public information that anyone can find, past sales and what's currently on the market and what they see as far as just the numbers. So just the square footage, just the bedroom, bathroom count, lot size. And really, they've never actually walked your property. There's a lot of people that have done some add-ons, whether it's adding more square footage to their garage or adding an ADU or a detached dwelling unit, or maybe they added, a fireplace or a swimming pool. There's all sorts of factors that are not included. For example, if you remodeled your kitchen, that actually means a lot to the marketplace, but it doesn't mean a whole lot as far as your square footage. And so I would say this, sometimes the Zillow estimate is really, really high, and sometimes really, really low. So I would encourage you, if you want to actually know, interview a few real estate agents and actually have them walk through your property and compare what they say, because, you know, as technologically advanced as we are in 2021, that we still need humans to make nuanced decisions, and humans are purchasing the property. So we need a human to understand what we need to do to get you the best return on your investment. So once again, I know a lot of the fans here on NORBCAM, you guys are younger, and that's cool. If you have any, you know, questions about buying or selling in the future in like 10 years, feel free to reach out to me. It's never too early to talk to a lender or a real estate agent. It's free to talk to us. Consultations are always welcome, and no pressure for us to do anything. Even if you're, you know, 20 years old and like, hey, I want to buy in, you know, 10 years, it's all good. So my tip of the day is don't trust Zillow and Redfin as far as the estimate.
All right. Well, I kind of to keep that in mind, so I won't get too excited if I see the numbers going up at the same time. Maybe it's higher than the number they have. So I guess we'll have to see. But that's a great point, because I peek at that quite often. So
right.
All right. Well, that's great. So again, my special guest, Daniel.dovinh of the Dovinh Real Estate Group at Sotheby's. Again, you're easy to talk to, and again, you can always talk a little Seahawks, and you can talk Mariners. I didn't even know that we'd be talking that much Mariners. So, yeah, if you got any questions, feel free. His information is in the link in the description, and he's always there for you. All right, man. Well, that is it. That's it for this episode of the Dive In with Dovinh. Let's get this win, baby. Seahawks, Rams.
Seahawks, let's go. Let's
All
go.
Right. Thursday Night Football. Oh, and tune in for the pregame, because you might see a certain someone in a little bit of the pregame video on national television.
Snap. Ooh, let's go, Noah.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. All right, you guys. Have a great one. Let's get this win.
Peace.
Go Hawks.